Joy screams Trump supporters drank cult Kool-Aid. Audience gives Smackdown. By Rebecca DeCerio, Entertainment Politics for MadWorldNews.com. Joy Behar is one hot mess. The obnoxious comedian accidentally stabbed herself with a knife so badly that she ended up having to be hospitalized. But it's clear the doctors didn't address her true problem, Trump derangement syndrome. Bayer's back on The View, screaming that that supporters of President Donald Trump are in a cult and drank the Kool-Aid. Well, Big Mouth Behar was shocked as the fed-up audience gave her a proper smackdown. Joy Behar completely unhinged as President Trump continues to guide the nation back to prosperity. Behar claims her recent hospital stay was due to avocado hand. Apparently, Joy was trying to peel an avocado when she stabbed herself in the hand and ended up hospitalized for several days. Yet her hospital stay did nothing for her stress levels. She was out of control as she returned to The View. Joy expects her audience to cheer all her nasty anti-Trump rhetoric, and it's no surprise that most of The View's liberal audience complies. But recently, the joyless wonder has been so hateful that the audience's reaction is more of groans and gasps. Joy's stress stems from the Hollywood crowd. They are extremely nervous about the upcoming midterm elections. In fact, Hanoi Jane Fonda only a few days ago warned a crowd of Hollywood elites of the existential crisis facing America under the Trump administration, urging them that the only solution is taking back our government. Yeah, that's never going to happen. Usually midterms are a boost to the party not in power, but the Democratic candidates are a bunch of whiners playing identity politics. They have no message, nothing to run on. The economy is better, we've had tax cuts, Obamacare is on life support, and America is back as the world superpower. Deep down, Joy knows this. The Daily Caller reports, responding to the idea that Congressman Mark Sanford was ousted in his primary on Tuesday by challenger Katie Arrington, who vocally supported Trump. Behar also suggested that there was an unwritten rule against challenging Trump. After Meghan McCain tried to push back on Joy's claim, Big Mouth Bear doubled down. But the point seems to be that in all these primaries and probably in the midterms, if you dare to speak against the king, Donald Trump, then he will screw with you and tweet something against you. Joy feels she's on a roll, but the audience is dead silent. So the joyless wonder goes nuclear screeching. These guys, meaning Trump supporters, are either in a cult and drank the Kool-Aid, I don't know, or they are afraid they have to go back to their other jobs as exterminators and postal carriers. Another dig. Wow. So she's insulting people who do these jobs. And one guy is an explosives expert. Another is an emergency dispatcher. They do not want to go back, so they will kiss his ring and anything else he wants you to kiss. I mean, really? Anyway, let's just take a listen.
It seems to be that in all of these primaries and probably in the midterms, if you dare to speak against the king, Donald Trump, then he will screw with you and he will tweet something against you. And these guys are either in the cult and drank the Kool-Aid, I don't know, or they're afraid they have to go back to their other jobs as exterminators and postal carriers. And I have one guy who's an explosives expert, another one who's a emergency dispatcher. They do not want to go back.
Expert. That's an important job.
They do not want to go back to those jobs.
They want to remain in power.
They want to remain in power in their state. So they will kiss his ring and whatever else he wants you to kiss.
But I have a question about this, because do we know that that's actually factual, that Mark Sanford lost because of that tweet, or is this some
tweet?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Is this propaganda? Because one of the things that the guy in the White House tends to do is he says, "Look, I did this," and whether he did it or not, people say, "Well, yes, look at what he did," and he didn't do it. So I'm not buying that this happened because of.
It's not because of
almost
said it.
Almost said it. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it.
But to Joy's point, Corker said, Bob Corker, the Republican senator from Tennessee, he's retiring at the end of his term, but he argued that Republicans were blocking his trade proposal because they were afraid of Trump and what he might do to the party if they upset him in an election year. And he said this, which I was like, wow, gosh, we might poke the bear, is the language I've been hearing in the hallways. And so while he's not running for re-election, I think what he said is obviously very truthful.
But the good news for the Democrats is that almost everyone who's on the Republican ticket in the midterms is a Trumpy. And so that's who you're voting against. You're voting against Trump.
You're not wrong. It's happening in the Virginia election as well. The candidate who's very radical and is for the Confederate flag and other things just lost to a more conservative candidate and will ultimately probably end up losing to Tim Kaine. It is a problem with primaries coming up, but it has been a problem for a long time. So I don't. I'm not 100% sold on this yet, because we're talking about specific states and specific elections. I do think there are always outlier candidates. When you have someone like Ben Sasse, who's still elected to the Senate, who's intensely anti-Trump and was a never-Trumper, who's becoming incredibly popular, especially among young Republicans, and he's not going anywhere.
Well, Trump
he's still
can't
in
touch
office.
him, I guess.
He's still in office.
But most of them he can.
If Whoopi's correct, though, and the tweet isn't the game changer, were people clear that Trump was for or against him before?
Yes. Because he came out against President Trump, and he met with him in 2016 and said that he wasn't, I believe, overly impressed with him was the quote that he used. But it's just interesting because he has been such a powerhouse in South Carolina for so long. But I will say that Henry McMaster, who's the current governor who's running, is also having a tough primary. He came out for Trump very early on in the election and endorsed him right before the general South Carolina primary, and he's a Trumper. So the narrative is tricky.
So I'm, we know that this one knows how to do the media.
Yep.
And so it's one word and confident. Yeah, I did that. It's like, I'm not sure.
The upside is that it's the year of the woman when it comes to these primaries. I've just been fascinated. On Tuesday, 3 women won Democratic primaries. Women will represent Democrats. One second.
We can be hopeful that the liberal nut job women would win. Yeah, that'll really help the country. Anyway, it says, what? If you're lost about who Bayer is referring to when she's screaming about exterminators and postal carriers afraid they have to go back to their other jobs, she actually has a list of GOP politicians who have won recent elections, and here's why the audience wasn't cheering. Those exterminators and postal carriers aren't career politicians. They back Trump because they live in the middle class and believe in his agenda. Yet Whoopi didn't want to give Trump the power that if Trump doesn't support you. So I got what Whoopi was doing. Isn't that the problem with the swamp? The Democratic leadership of Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Maxine Waters have had no other jobs. They have a combined age of 224 years. This is not what the founding fathers had in mind when they formed Congress. Serving in Congress was meant to be just that, service. It's not a career path or a path to become a millionaire. So Joyless was dumbstruck as her rant flopped. Even the liberal audience wasn't backing her nonsense. Trump supporters at home weighed in, giving her another smackdown. Lori C. tweeted to Joy, "That's funny, the resistance cult calling Trump supporters a cult. Oh, the irony." Twitter user IMAG, whatever, knee prints. Joy Behar probably thinks that supporting oath of office, rule of law, U.S. Constitution, love of country / USA is a cult also. Bayer is obviously out of touch with reality. Sad, very sad. Yep. The left is losing because they have become so radicalized that they are totally out of touch with reality in America today. Mary E. Silva also lets Big Mouth Bear having it tweeted. Talk about cults. These liberal idiots get their talking points in the morning and repeat and regurgitate the party line the rest of the day. Joy's speech is pressured, and she exhibits all signs of someone who can't cope. She has put a lot of time into trashing Trump and supports the idea that anyone who voted for him is low income, not educated, and has no idea about political matters. Well, she is finding out the hard way Trump voters are smart, savvy, and refuse to be silent. Big Mouth Behar is nothing but a tool of the radical left, parroting their lines and losing talking points. She's so stressed about Trump winning that she stabbed herself. So it's time to remove all sharp objects from anywhere the joyless wonder may go. Yeah, I think I can't even take listening to these women spew such idiotic statements. But I did notice that there was no clapping in the audience while she said her joke, her nastiness. Usually they'll hold up a sign and tell the audience to clap. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.